After my wife cheated, she threatened to take everything if I filed for divorce. When I told my stepdaughter, she laughed and called my salary embarrassing. So, I filed anyway, left them with nothing. Now, 3 months later, they want to reconnect, but I've moved on. Hello, Reddit I plus here. I still remember the night I found out she was cheating, the smell of another man's cologne on her coat, the late-night work meetings that didn't make sense, the sudden change in how she looked at me like I was just in the way. Jessica, my wife of 7 years, once promised me forever. We met after her first marriage ended, and I stepped in not just as her partner, but as a father figure to her daughter Kayla, who was only 12 at the time. I helped raise her like my own. School projects, midnight fevers, heartbreaks, I was there. I thought that counted for something. But love, apparently, has an expiration date, when comfort turns into complacency, when loyalty is seen as weakness. One rainy Tuesday evening, I confronted Jessica after finding hotel receipts in her gym bag, booked under a man's name I didn't recognize. She didn't even flinch. She poured herself a glass of wine and said coldly, "So what? You don't satisfy me anymore. You haven't in a long time." I stood there, stunned. "You could have told me, and let go of the house, the lifestyle? Please," she scoffed. "If you file for divorce, I'll take everything. I've already spoken to a lawyer." That part wasn't a threat. It was a declaration. She had planned it all. What broke me more than the betrayal was how confident she was in my silence. Like I'd roll over and let her win just to keep the peace. I remember walking out of the house that night, driving to the edge of town just to sit and scream into the steering wheel. I wasn't a rich man. I worked in IT for a mid-sized company, and my annual salary wouldn't exactly turn heads. But I was stable, consistent, loyal. Apparently that made me a joke in her eyes. The next day, I told Kayla. She was 19, home from college for the summer. I thought we were close, thought she'd at least be shocked. Instead, she laughed, actually laughed. "Seriously?" she said, smirking. "You're mad about mom leveling up? Your salary is like, pathetic." I don't know why she even married you. It hit like a freight train. Every birthday I planned, every emergency bill I covered, the car I helped her buy, erased by that smirk. That was the moment I snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just nodded, turned, and walked straight into the storm she thought she'd weather easily. What they didn't know was that I had already spoken to a divorce attorney 2 weeks earlier, after the first red flag. And my attorney wasn't just good, he was vicious. The house, bought in my name before the marriage, the cars, leased under my company benefits, the savings, tied in a trust fund left to me by my mother, with legal protection. And Jessica, she had been living off my income for years, never officially contributing a dime. She thought she'd walk away with half. She walked away with her clothes and an apartment she couldn't afford. And Kayla? She moved back to her real father's place when Jessica realized she couldn't support both of them. Turns out, the boyfriend she cheated with wasn't looking for a ready-made family. He was just passing through town. It's been 3 months. I moved to a new place across the city. Smaller, quieter, peaceful. I started dating again. Nothing serious, just getting back into the rhythm of living for me. Then, the messages started coming in. Jessica first. Hey, can we talk? Text at 2 a.m. ignored. Then Kayla emailed me. Not a sorry, not a you were right. Just, college is expensive. I could really use your help. You always said you'd support me like your own daughter. Funny how that works when the money runs out. Then, 2 nights ago, Jessica showed up at my doorstep. I didn't recognize her at first. She looked tired, worn down, makeup smudged to hide tears. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I thought I was trading up, but I gave up the only man who ever really cared. Please, just dinner. Just talk to me." I let her talk. For 5 minutes. She blamed the affair on feeling invisible. She claimed Kayla didn't mean what she said. She even tried to reach for my hand. Then I pulled out the folder. Photos, screenshots, the hotel receipts. Her texts bragging to her friend about how she'd milk me dry and be free by Christmas. Her face dropped. "I wanted to believe you had a moment of weakness," I said calmly. "But this was a campaign. A war you thought you'd win. You laughed at the man who clothed your daughter. You spat on the man who paid for your life," she cried. For real this time, but it didn't move me. "Jessica," I said, "you didn't just lose a husband. You burned down the bridge back to me." As she stood there, stunned, I stepped back and shut the door. Now, I sleep better. I smile more. I'm building a life with someone new, a woman who saw value in who I was before I had anything to prove. As for Jessica and Kayla, they're not just left with nothing. They're left with the memory of a man who gave them everything, until they taught him what betrayal really costs. And that is a debt they'll carry long after I'm gone. It had been a week since Jessica showed up on my doorstep, begging for a second chance. I thought that would be the end of it. I underestimated her. The very next day, I got a call from my HR department. Someone had anonymously emailed a complaint accusing me of misconduct in the workplace. Vague enough to raise flags, but weak enough to be ignored by anyone with a brain. They traced the IP. Guess where it came from? Jessica's new apartment. Desperate people do desperate things. Then I found out she'd called my new girlfriend, Amanda. I met Amanda at a book club, believe it or not. A quiet, graceful woman. A social worker. She didn't care about how much I made, what car I drove, or how many zeros were in my bank account. She liked how I listened. Jessica called her, and said, "He's not who you think he is. He's a liar. He abandoned his family." Amanda, God bless her, calmly replied, "I think you're confusing a man who walked away from abuse with one who abandons people." Jessica hung up, but it didn't stop there. That night, I got a call from her affair partner's wife. Yep, he was married. She found me through a mutual connection on social media and called, trembling with fury. Turns out, Derek, the guy Jessica had thrown our marriage away for, wasn't just cheating on his wife with Jessica. He had 3 other women on the side. One of them was pregnant. Jessica didn't know, but she found out the hard way. A week later, I heard through a friend that Derek had ghosted her, shut off his phone, moved out of state. Jessica was evicted from her apartment not long after. Kayla dropped out of college because she couldn't keep up with tuition, and her real father refused to help. Poetic, almost. Then came the letter, handwritten, 8 pages, front and back, from Jessica. She poured her heart into it, or tried to. She talked about how lonely she was, how she felt trapped as a stay-at-home wife while I worked late hours. She blamed her betrayal on emotional starvation. She wrote, "Kayla misses you." She cries about what she said. "We were both stupid. Please, even if we can't be a family again, can we just talk?" I didn't respond, but I kept the letter, not out of sentiment, but as a reminder, because part of me needed to see it, to read it, and still feel nothing. But drama has a funny way of looping back when you think the storm has passed. 3 days ago, Kayla showed up at Amanda's workplace. No appointment, no warning. She waited in the lobby for 3 hours, until Amanda finished her shift. Then she followed her to her car. Tears, mascara running, hoodie soaked from rain. A real performance. "I didn't mean what I said to him," she sobbed. "I was just being young and stupid. But he was my real dad, the only one who ever gave a damn. Please, just tell him that." Amanda told her this. "He heard you the first time. He just finally learned to believe it." Kayla tried to hand her another letter. Amanda didn't take it. That night, I found the envelope wedged under my windshield wiper. I opened it. Inside were childhood photos. Me and Kayla building a snowman. Her asleep on my chest during a thunderstorm. A Father's Day card from when she was 14 that said, "You're my hero. Thank you for choosing to love me." There was no note, no explanation, just those photos, and silence. I didn't cry, but I did remember. I remembered every sacrifice, every moment I put them first, every time I swallowed disrespect, just to keep the family together. And I remembered how they laughed when I finally stood up for myself. Last night, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to see Jessica standing there, soaked in rain again, this time with Kayla beside her, holding a tattered photo album. "We have nowhere else to go," Jessica said softly. Kayla looked down, her pride shattered. "You don't owe us anything, but you were the only person who ever really showed up." I didn't say a word. I looked them both in the eyes, then glanced at the photo album in Kayla's hands. "You're right," I said. "I did show up. I gave you everything. My time, my love, my loyalty, and you both wiped your feet on it." Jessica started to cry. "Please, I know we don't deserve forgiveness, but we're not asking for that. We're just asking for a second chance, as friends." I held up my hand. "I'm not here to fix broken people who broke me first." Then I shut the door. This time, for good. They didn't just lose me. They lost the man who would have carried them through fire. And I lost the people who taught me exactly what fire feels like. But I walked out of the ashes stronger, and I'm never looking back.